guys, welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from Germany. Today is Sunday the 19th of November 2017. I'm so glad that you're joining me today. If you're watching for the very first time, thank you so much for trying out my podcast. And if you're coming back, thank you ever so much. It's been about 2 weeks since I last podcasted. Last weekend I was away and life just has been super busy. I was planning to record yesterday, but then stuff came up, to make it short, and all I managed to record was like a 1-minute video of the prizes. And then I was really planning to record today. I have my entire setup, everything is lined up around me, and now I've got this huge cold. So you can probably hear it, and I feel like I sound really crappy, I'm all congested, but I'm just going to try to record some kind of podcast episode. We'll see how far we go. And yeah, so I've made myself a huge cup of coffee, which I think is going to help a lot, in my new favorite mug, which says I don't give a sip. And yeah, so before we get started, we have a knit along running in our Ravelry group, which is called the Happy Knitting Podcast group on Ravelry, and that is the Challenge Cal 2017, so the Challenge Knit Along. The idea is to do something that challenges you. All the rules and prizes and everything are in the chat thread on Ravelry. I'm not going to go into detail. I'll just say that so far there aren't many entries, so your chances of winning a prize are really good. And it's running until the 15th of December, so you have still quite a lot of time to participate. I have recorded a little prize video, which I'll put in somewhere in this podcast. So moving on from that, you can also find show notes and everything in that Ravelry group about everything I talk about. I'll try to just link my project pages and you can find stuff from there. Today I want to talk to you guys about finished objects, works in progress, and then I've promised for a while that I was going to do sort of like a review of commercial sock yarns. So I have one brand of sock yarns, which is Regia, which I'm going to be talking about today. Then I have a mountain of acquisitions. I thought I wasn't going to have any to show you, and now I have like a kilo of yarn lying right next to me, which is super exciting. And possibly we'll talk about life in general at the end. And the sun is actually coming out, which is nice. It's been so gloomy and grey and rainy, and I can't even remember the last time I saw the sun. But this morning we had the first snowflakes, which was really fun. I'm one of those people, I get up every morning and first thing is I check the outside and see if it has snowed, and it hasn't so far. Today we had like 3 snowflakes, nothing stuck to the ground, but I got very excited. So anyways, let's just cut all the chatter and go into the knitting. I have 3 finished objects. I'm getting sidetracked because I have stuff here and stuff there. Whatever. First of all, I have been a bit on a bit of a hat kick, which never happens. When have you ever seen me knitting hats? Somehow I think it started because Kai wanted a hat, and I got some yarn, which I showed in the last podcast episode, which was the online silk sock yarn, which is a merino and silk blend. I don't have the tag with me to show you today, but maybe I do. Maybe I do. No, that's the wrong one. Anyways, so I've been wanting to knit him a hat. I'm trying to speak quietly because I'm worried that he might hear. So anyways, what I did is I held the yarn double because I wanted it to be a nice thick hat, and the yarn that I use is a fingering weight yarn. And I have made a hat. So I know he doesn't want any patterning or anything like that. He likes vanilla hats, so I knit a relatively long 2x2 rib and then just a beanie style hat. It's not too slouchy because he doesn't like slouchy hats, and I think it turned out super nice. I used 6mm needles, I believe. And by holding the yarn double, I just think it created a super pretty fabric, and the slight variegation in the yarn just got split up, and it's just a really beautiful hat. I'm actually quite impressed with the yarn, which I talked about last week in detail, so I don't want to go into it too much, but the yarn was really nice to work with, and it's created a really nice sturdy hat made out of commercial sock yarn, so it has all the advantages of being easily cared for, but I think it feels really nice, and yeah, I think it's going to be the perfect business hat. I didn't use any pattern for this or any of the other hats that I'm going to show you today. Quite a few people have asked me. I literally just cast on a bunch of stitches, do a rib, and then do a stockinette, and then I throw in whatever decreases I feel like. So on this hat I did these sort of double decreases which create this effect. But yeah, I'm really sorry. I think I cast on 96 stitches for this hat, which with the yarn held double is probably about a DK to worsted weight yarn, and I increased a couple of stitches after I finished the ribbing, so I probably knit the hat at about 100 stitches, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's my first hat done. I will note down the entire exact yarn and colorway and stuff on my project page. I'm sorry, I just don't have that stuff with me, and I already had to keep this away from Kai the entire time since I finished this, so I have no idea where it went. But oh well, first hat is done. And the second hat, I just was on a flow of knitting hats, and when you hold the yarn double, it goes so fast, so it's like the perfect instant gratification knit. So I cast on some yarn that I've been wanting to try for a while, and this is yarn by Ducky Darlings, who is a UK indie dyer. She sent this to me as a gift, which was so sweet of her. There we go. You can find her on Etsy. I will just link it in the show notes. And this is her scribble colorway, which is really pretty, sort of like watery aqua tones, and it's on her merino nylon gold stellina base. And I originally used this to knit a pair of socks, or started a pair of socks, but it felt really thick. So I asked, and it actually is a sport weight or DK weight yarn, which is why it didn't work for the socks. So it went into my stash, but I really have been wanting to try it because it looks really pretty, and it was just a lovely gift of hers. So I decided to knit another hat, and if any of my sisters are watching, maybe look away because it might be a Christmas gift. So with that out of the way, I did the same thing. I held the yarn double. So for this one, I think I cast on something around 72 stitches. Again, I did a 2x2 rib at the bottom, and then just a stockinette hat. With this one, I did sort of like swirling decreases. And I think I want to put on a pom-pom on this one. I think it would look really pretty with a pom-pom on top. But I haven't thought about that yet. I probably will just order some on the internet, and I think it will make this hat look just even more sort of, I don't know, suitable for teenagers, I guess. So the yarn knit up so nicely, I think. I used the same needles as with the other hat, so the gauge is quite dense, which I like. And then by holding the variegated yarn double or speckled yarn double, I think it created a really nice effect. The yarn is really soft, and I really like the gold stellina. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it was a really nice yarn to work with, and I would definitely recommend it. The ply structure of it is really interesting. Let's see if I can somehow show that to you. It's sort of like a loosely plied yarn, which I think works really well for like hats or accessories, I think it would be a really nice yarn to use for that, and I prefer that over the more tightly spun yarn you usually get. So thank you so much for the yarn donation, and yes, I can definitely recommend it. So if I do get a pom-pom, I'm thinking about putting like a crazy huge faux fur pom-pom on top. I will definitely show it to you guys again. This hat is kind of a little bit too small, which is why I think it will be perfect for my sisters, because I can wear it, but it's kind of tight and I'm not sure if it's going to be a good fit, but I haven't blocked this at all. So maybe I just need to block it and it'll be fine, I'm not quite sure. So those are my two hats, and it's really fun because I never knit hats, but maybe it's a really good way to bring down the stash and just use up some yarn and make some quick Christmas gifts, because yes, Christmas is coming and it's coming very quickly. So yeah, I'm thinking I might do more hats for Christmas this year. Yeah, let's just get that out of the way. Have some coffee and move on. Oh, got hair in my coffee. Alright, so moving on to my last finished object, I finally last night finished my Halloween socks. So this is my second pair of Halloween socks that I knit this year. I used the Minecraft sock pattern on Ravelry, which is a free pattern. It's really fun, sort of similar to the blueberry waffles in that it's just very memorizable, and I think the effect it gives is really cool. I used it on a variegated yarn just to kind of break it up a little bit, and I think it's really fun. And the colorway is called Spooktacular on the merino nylon sock base by Giddy Yarns. Did I mention Giddy Yarns before? I'm not sure. Anyways, I knit these for me. I cast these on Halloween, or I think the day before Halloween, while watching Stranger Things, and then they've been kind of languishing, but I'm so happy to have these done. I really enjoyed the sock base. I think I will have to be ordering more yarns from Giddy Yarns because they're really amazing, and she brought out a Stranger Things inspired, I think 3 Stranger Things inspired colorways, and I really wanted one of them. I think that was the 11 colorway, but I missed it, but I think I'm going to have to get that when I see it again at some point. Anyways, these socks are done. They're going to be for me. I did 64 stitches on a 2.25mm US size 1 needle. So that's that. Moving on to whips, and I have quite a few because I've just been casting on everything. It's so funny. I feel like usually I'm quite precious about my stash, and I don't want to be using the nice yarn, and I've just kind of let go of that. I'm just really enjoying my stash. I'm buying quite a bit of yarn, and I'm also just casting on all of my stash. So where should I start? Maybe I'll start with the one whip that you've seen before, which is a pair of socks for Kai, which I'm aiming to get finished for his birthday as well. This is out of commercial sock yarn that I've mentioned quite a few times as well. This is not the tag. Whoa, there is the tag. This is out of online Super Sock in their merino nylon base, which I've talked about quite a bit and raved on about. This is colorway number 2161. And this is what my leftover ball looks like. It's looking a bit small for my taste, but surely I won't run out, right? Famous last words. Oh well. I'm knitting a pair of vanilla socks, and I ran out of sock blockers, but the first one is done. It's just a very plain vanilla pair of socks, which I think is really pretty. And I've really been trying hard to finish the second one, even though I haven't really felt like it. But I have yesterday knit the heel and part of the foot. So if I just sit down, I'll get these done pretty quickly. Like I said, just a plain vanilla sock, 68 stitches because it's for Kai, US size 1, 2.25mm needles. I'm still really enjoying the yarn. I can't wait to see how this will wear and hold up over time. I will definitely be letting you know, because if it wears well, I think I'm going to be buying quite a lot more of this yarn. And I'm saying this although I have 2 more balls in my stash. So maybe I'm a little crazy, but oh well. I think these sort of subtle gradient in this yarn, it's just really fun. It's kind of random the way the colors are placed, but again, quite businessy. I think it'll go with the hat, and he's going to have a nice, sort of businessy, yarny stack of knits for his birthday, which is on Sunday in a week. exactly 1 week from now. Yeah, but I think I'm doing pretty well on time. I should be finished easily. So that's my first whip. And yes, I'm housing my manly socks in my pink bag. Yeah. Anyways, sorry about the sniffling. There's just not that much I can do. I realize it's really annoying and I hate when other podcasters do it, but it's either this or no podcast. So if it bothers you, don't comment, just don't watch the podcast. Anyways, moving on to new cast-ons in my probably favorite bag ever, which a lovely friend of mine sewed for me last year for Christmas. I have some Christmas socks. And again, I keep on raving around about the same things lately. Last week I raved on about felt fusion yarns, and I have quite a stack of yarn from her to show you later, but I cast on the Christmas colorway. This is felt fusion on Etsy. Her name is Shadow. She's really lovely. Actually, she is on Etsy, and she also has her own webpage where you can buy yarn, so I always forget that. And this is in her high twist merino nylon sock yarn. Colorway is Who Will, and it's her first Christmas colorway that she came out with, I believe. She's come out with a couple more now, but I really wanted this one, and I showed it to you last week as an acquisition, and I just had to cast it on. Aren't these socks just so much fun? I'm on a huge 2 at a time sock kick lately. I've cast on a couple of pairs of 2 at a time socks, and that's why I haven't been wanting to work on my single socks anymore. I used to knit quite a lot of 2 at a time, and then it somehow just stopped, and now I'm realizing how much I missed it and how much I love the. So this is a close-up of how the yarn is knitting up. I absolutely love it. I'm having so much fun with this. I've also been hoarding this base of hers, the high twist merino nylon yarn, and now that I'm knitting with it, I know that it was a right decision because this base is so much fun. I think the stitch definition is beautiful, and I could rave on about these socks forever. They're just plain vanilla socks. I think I did about 22 rows of 2x2 rib and then just a vanilla leg. And depending on how long I want the legs to be, I might have to put in the heel relatively soon. We'll see how it goes. It's my first pair of Christmas socks for myself this year. I already knit Kaya pair, and I want to knit many more. So yeah, really, really enjoying these. Just plain vanilla socks in Christmas colorways. And I feel like I'm rushing once more. And since I'm all in the Christmas spirit, I have decided I can also use my Christmassy project bags now, and this is one that I was gifted by Kim of Golden Yarns, and I just love it. So in here I have another cast on, another selfish cast on. Yes, I've been casting on all the things. And this cast on is with a German yarn that I found at a yarn store near Munich called Bonifactur. And the dyer is Atelier Franziska Uhl. I will link the shop where I got it because I know that they ship. I'm not really sure if she sells it on her homepage as well. So there's the label, and again I cast on 2 at a time vanilla socks. And this is what they look like. Excuse the yarn hanging everywhere. Oh well. How beautiful are these colors? I already loved this yarn when I got it in the skein in spring or summer, I believe, and I kind of splurged on these, but now that I'm knitting them, I'm just amazed. I think I've never seen a colorway that is this pretty and this sort of unusual in the way that it's pulling and working up. I think it's just stunning, if I may say so myself. So with these, I knit relatively long legs. These are going to be for me anyways. And then I've put in the heels, and I'm now also onto the foot. And I feel like I'm not showing it to you very well. But it's just a very, very beautiful yarn and very interesting. And the base is super soft. I used this before to knit a pair of socks for Kai. I believe she dyes on the Lanartis fine socks base, if you know that. At least that's what I have in mind, but don't quote me on that. Anyways, I'm really enjoying these. Again, vanilla socks, 64 stitches on a US size 1 needle. I'm just back on my sock train, and I'm really, really enjoying that. And I want to cast on so many more socks, and I think I might. I'll definitely cast on more as soon as I finish Kai's socks. But we'll see. Really enjoying these. The last whip that I have to show you is my sweater. Yes, my sweater, which is the Embrun cardigan. And again, I don't know the designer's name. I talked about the pattern last week, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. I just say I have been working on the body. The yarn I'm using for this is amazing yarn. It is John Iron Knit by Numbers in their Merino DK base. It's the shade in number 12, and here is the label. I love this yarn. I used it to knit a hat, to try it out, and I really fell in love with it and love how it's worn over the year. So I decided to finally knit a sweater out of it. So last week I showed it to you. I had already split full sleeves of the cardigan, and I've just been continuing down the bottom, the body of the sweater. I've tried it on, it fits really well. The stitch marker is where I was last week, if you can see that here. So I've knit about maybe 4 or 5 inches. And the reason why I haven't continued is because I have almost used up the second ball out of my 4 balls of yarn. So I really want to knit the sleeves first to see how much yarn I'll have left over then. But that would mean that I would have to check the pattern and turn on my brain, and I just haven't felt like that. So yeah, I'm slowly working on this. I would like to have it done sometime, maybe before Christmas, but I'm not stressing myself out about it. So that is my sweater and the last of my whips, unless you count my blankets, but let's not do that. So, as I mentioned before, I have been planning to do some kind of informal review of German or generally commercial sock yarns, I shall say. Simply because I knit a lot of socks, I wear a lot of socks, and I come from a place where we do have lots of commercial sock yarn readily available. The most famous ones probably being Regia or Opal or Opal, whatever you want to name it. So I mentioned this idea a couple of weeks ago, and lots of you guys seem to be interested in that. So I have been wanting to do that for a while. I just didn't really know where to start, and I didn't have time to prepare and so on. But we'll just try to get through it today. So the first sock yarn that I've decided to review is Regia. First of all, I'm not sponsored or anything. This is just my personal fascination with yarns and my experience with knitting with commercial sock yarn, and I'm not sponsored to say or do anything on this podcast. Like I said, just my experience. You might have different experiences with these yarns. I can't judge that. I'm not going to be talking about things that I've heard from other people. I'm just going to say what I think and what I have experienced. So with that disclaimer out of the way, I've brought up 2 Regia yarns to show you. Just so you know, these are the newer labels. They used to have different labels in the past, but here you can say Regia by Schachenmeier. It's a German sock yarn. I've only ever tried their 4-ply base, which is their normal sock yarn base. They have a million different colorways and different lines and seasonal lines and so on. They have a great variety. And these yarns are 75% virgin wool, 25% nylon. And when it comes to my commercial socks, and actually most of my socks in general, I don't treat them very well. I throw them in the washing machine at like a 30 or 40 degree cycle. With the commercial ones, such as Regia, I don't do a wool wash or anything. I just throw them in with whatever else I'm washing, and they turn out fine. So that gives you an idea of how hard we are on our socks, especially Kai. He has quite a few of Regia socks. I'm not precious with them because I figure it's commercial sock yarn. It's relatively cheap, and all I want for it is to be good sock yarn for anyone without having to think about it. I have knit quite a few of pairs of gift socks out of this yarn as well. I just think it's really handy because, like I said, you can throw it in the wash. And yeah, so I've written down a couple of points that I want to be talking about, but like I said, here are some examples of the balls. Regia is quite famous for this one. This is the perfect line, which means that you can get equal socks, or perfectly matching socks, I should say. And they're also quite famous for these two guys on here. These are Arne and Carlos, who have made these sort of faux feral patterns for Regia, and they have been quite popular as well. But Regia, they, like I said, they have so many different lines. So first of all, let's talk about the color variety in this yarn, or in this commercial sock yarn company, I should say. I think they have a great variety, to be honest. There are some makers and companies out there that always kind of do the same thing. They have a very specific style, which can be nice, but it can sometimes also be boring. And I feel like Regia is really trying to do lots of different things. For example, they brought out these feral patterns, which I think are really fun. They've also brought out recently a season line, which is all Christmas colors. And yeah, I really feel like they're sort of getting the entire thing with podcasts and Instagram in our community, and I really appreciate that. They do have lots of self-patterning colorways, but they also have solid colorways for color work, and yeah, I just think they have lots of different styles, which I really appreciate, and that's sort of one reason why I really like working with them, because the colors are just really fun. Next question, how does it hold up? I brought two pairs to show you. Like I said, my pairs got thrown in the wash. The pairs, the socks that I'm showing you, this one is a pair that I knit for Kai quite recently, but they've been worn a lot, they've been through the wash. And this is their season color in the Tannenbaum colorway, and all of these are in my project pages as well. I will try to link them. This one is one that I think I knit about a year ago. It's, I think, one of their Arne and Carlos lines, and both of these have held up really well. I'm not sure if you can even tell. There's like the slightest bit of fuzziness, but all in all, I think they still look really new, and they have been through quite a bit. You can see the top one is a bit fuzzy at the top, but all in all, they've held up really well. I can say that I've never had a knot in my Regia yarns before. I've had one time where I think Kai snagged them somewhere, so that kind of made it a little bit felted, but I don't think that was their fault. And I've never had a hole in there in socks out of this yarn. So generally I would definitely give them 10 out of 10 points for durability. I think this yarn holds up really great. I've also never had any of their yarn what's the word? Bleed, that's the word I'm looking for. I've had other commercial yarn, and I hate that with commercial yarn, because I think with these yarns, I expect to give them to people and just throw them in the wash. That's the sort of expectation I have towards this yarn, and some other yarns that I've had this expectation with did not hold up, and they have bled, but I've never had Regia socks bleed, and I also don't think the colors fade, which happens to a lot of my socks, to be honest. But with these ones, I think even after a year, the colors are still perfectly bright, and nothing's wrong with them at all. Next question. What about the quality consistency? And that is where I feel like Regia is not the greatest, because the consistency of their yarns, or their quality, is really, really changing, I think. Some balls of Regia, they're amazing, and it's a beautiful yarn, and some balls I feel like it's a little bit thin, it's a little bit rustic, it has a bit of a halo, and I don't really get the reason why. I'm not sure if I'm the only one experiencing that, but that's something that really surprises me. Like, for example, this Christmas pair, I knitted so recently, but also already while knitting with it, it had a bit of a halo, and it's getting quite fuzzy. And I don't know why. And then I knit another ball of Regia, and I don't have this problem at all. And so that's one minor downfall for me with Regia. Like I said, I've never had anything terrible happen, but it's quite difficult when you're ordering it online, especially you haven't felt it. And like I said, the consistency is not always the greatest. I will say, however, that in terms of just the general feel of the yarn, sometimes it's a little bit more rustic than others, but I think for a commercial yarn, it's actually quite soft, and it wears really well. And I think for me, for example, I prefer Regia to Opal in the way that it's a little bit softer to knit with, and I think this one, with over time, it just gets softer. which I really appreciate. So if you're not too fussed about fuzziness of yarn, excuse the pun, yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Last but not least, what do I like about it? What do I not like about it? What I really like about this yarn, like I mentioned before, is just the variety. I think it's just a really fun yarn. I also think here in Germany, at least, the price point is amazing for this yarn. Like one of these balls, which is 100 grams, costs us about €7, I think. So like $8 or $9. And I think you can't really beat that. It's really pleasant to knit with. I sometimes don't like knitting with too rustic yarns. I just don't enjoy the process. But with Regia, I quite like it. What I don't like about it, like I said, is you don't really always get know what kind of quality you're getting. But I don't mean quality I've never, like I said, I haven't had knots, it hasn't broken, so there's never been anything wrong with it. It just seems to be a bit of a variety. But all in all, that is my review of Regia sock yarns. Like I said, this is my first review of commercial sock yarns, so if you have any comments about that, I would be really, really interested. If you want to let us know in the Ravelry group how you are liking this yarn, I would love to hear it. So I'm planning to do sort of similar little reviews about different other sock brands. I will definitely be talking about Opal or Opal in the near future, and I have a couple of other ones in my sock drawer and in my stash, and it might be a good excuse to try some new ones as well. And just a reminder again, this is just my personal experience. I feel like sometimes when I do these reviews, I talk about it like a salesperson, and I really don't want it to come across that way. Apparently that's just how I talk. But yeah, let's keep it to that and move on to acquisitions. So the last thing I want to talk about is my acquisitions for these last 2 or 3 weeks. My cold is getting worse. I hope I will try to edit everything out, but if you hear me sniffling, I'm so sorry. There's just nothing I can do. So for my acquisitions, I'll start with the needle that I bought. I've been wanting to get some more Chagu needles. I used Chagu needles as well as Haya Sharps for my sock knitting. I really like both brands a lot. I've been wanting to get a couple, so I just ordered another set of 40-inch or 100 centimeter US size 1 sock needles. I use their red lace, which is their sort of sharp tip sock needles, and I really enjoy them, so I just thought I might pick up another one. Then I got a lovely package in the mail from Stacy, who has Twisted Threads, and she has donated a podcast prize, which you will have already seen, and she also sent some stuff for me, which was super generous of her. So she sent me a project bag, and you guys, look at that. Isn't that adorable? I fell in love with this completely and just decided I need to keep this. It's a beautifully made bag. I think it's going to be perfect for a pair of socks. It has her label, Twisted Threads, on here. It has a fun handle in the same print. And the inside fabric is really stunning as well. I really like it. And yeah, I just love this bag. And I'm going to be using it immediately. And as if that wasn't enough, she also sent a skein of yarn that I decided to keep, and this is on the same base as the skein that I'm going to use for a giveaway. It's her standard sock, which is a merino nylon blend, but you guys, this is so soft. When I felt this, I thought it was going to be a MCN yarn. It is incredibly soft. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's really beautiful, beautiful yarn. It has a slight halo, and I think it's going to knit up into a beautiful pair of socks or whatever I decide to knit with it. And this colorway is called Basket Case, and that's me at the moment, so I thought that was just perfect, and I can't wait to knit with this. And thank you again so much, Stacy. And also how pretty are her new labels. I really think they're just stunning. I will again link her shop in the show notes, of course. The next thing I got from a D-stash, and I am ridiculously excited about this. I jumped on it when I saw someone on Instagram D-stash it, and it was already reserved, and I just sent her a message saying, well, if the person changes their mind, I will buy it immediately. And that happened, so I did. And I'm super excited about this. You guys, I got my first ever skein of Jinx yarn self-striping. And Jinx yarn is one of those things, or yarns from the US, which I think I'll just never have because I don't order from the US for custom reasons, shipping reasons, and I just don't. So something like Jinx yarns I see in podcasts all the time, and it looks really amazing, especially because I love self-striping yarns, but I generally don't assume that I will ever get to knit with it. So when I saw this on a D-stash in Germany, I just decided to jump on it immediately. This is her strong sock, which is a 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon base in the colorway Magical Girl. And I looked up how this straps up on Ravelry, and it's absolutely stunning. I think it is, oh, hang on, let me count. Let me show you the yarn first. While I count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stripes, I think. And oh my gosh, you guys, part of me wants to cast this on and knit it up immediately, and part of me wants to never knit with it because it's just so precious. But I am in yarn paradise with this. Super happy about this, and I'm also very much on a D-stash train. This got me thinking about D-stashes, and I've found so much yarn on D-stashes lately, and some might have been bought already. So anyways, super happy with this. Not sure if I'll cast it on immediately or save it for a special occasion, but definitely a big yarny treasure for me. Next up, I have the new shipment of the Hedgehog Fiber Sock Club. So if you don't want to see it, if you're in the club, please look away because I'm going to show it. You have been warned. So this is the last shipment that I got from my club, and I missed a new one, so it's going to be my last Hedgehog shipment for a while. Look, aren't these colors amazing? I can honestly say that every single skein out of the 6 skeins that I got in my club has been absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy I joined the club. This is their sock club, so it's their 90% merino, 10% nylon sock base, which I love. This crazy neon yellow one is called Piranha, and it's just amazing. It's very neon, and I love it. That's going to be a fun pair of socks. And this one is probably my favorite out of the entire club. This is just so me, so my colors. I think it is absolutely stunning. This is called XOXO, and oh my gosh. I kind of want 5 of these and want to make a crazy sweater and matching socks out of it, and then I'd still want more. But anyways, I totally love this, and I'm very happy with the club. I need to keep working on my Hedgehog sock drawer, which is a plan that I want to slowly build up a separate sock drawer out of Hedgehog Fiber socks. So we'll work on that and see how it goes. So the last acquisition that I want to talk to you guys about is, again, Felt Fusion yarns, which I mentioned last week. And I already showed you my Christmas socks that I'm knitting with it, and I just really love her yarns. I've always liked them, but lately I'm just on a Felt Fusion kick. So I placed quite a big order, and it arrived super quickly. And I've just really been drawn to super bright colors, as you probably would have seen with my acquisitions that I've already shown you. At the moment, I think because it's super dark and grey outside, I just want all the neons and all the colors in my life. So the first one that I got, these are all sock yarns. This is in her Sparkle sock base. It's a superwash merino nylon stellina base. And this is called Cassiopeia. And I think she had like an entire sort of space-themed yarn line. And this is just really pretty. It just jumped into my cart, and I figured you can't go wrong with pink, sparkly, beautiful speckled yarn. No idea what this is going to be, but it's beautiful and I love it. The second skein that I got is one that I've been wanting for a while. I think she had it as a diet to order skein, and I've been trying to buy it and then resisted, and I finally got it. This is called Lady Glitter Sparkle, but I got it on the Superwash Merino nylon sock base, so it doesn't have sparkle. This skein doesn't, but it's just, again, super neon, super bright, and exactly what I'm liking at the moment. And I've knit with her merino and nylon sock base before, and it's really, really nice sock base. I think there's so many different merino nylon sock blends out there, but this one I really like, and I love the neon craziness of this. I'm thinking about pairing this with a black yarn and striping it. I think that would also be really fun. But we'll see. I'm definitely happy that I got it. Next up, I got another Christmas colorway, and these two skeins that I'm about to show you, they're both on the much coveted high twist merino nylon sock base, which I'm using right now and keep rabbing on about. So this is called Komodo Christmas, or Komodo Christmas. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm also not sure what the link behind the name is, because I never get these things. I just saw that it's a Christmas colorway. I think it's, again, really fun, crazy colors, and Christmas yarn, you guys. I'm definitely on the Christmas sock train at the moment, and this is just awesome. And the last skein that I bought from her, yes, I went crazy, is this one. This is called Do You Hear Death? Again, I don't get the reference, but I just thought it was a really interesting sort of like swampy blue, brown, green colorway. I think these might be fun socks for Kai, but if he doesn't want them, I'll gladly knit them for myself. I just decided to go with it. So I'm super happy with all of my felt fusion yarns. I'm building quite a stash, and look how colorful they are. Very, very exciting. So that's it for my acquisitions, and since I'm not doing so well on the cold front, and I feel like I'm just sniffling and getting all over the place and getting sidetracked by my cold, I think we're just going to not talk about life in general today. I will just catch up with you next time I see you, maybe next weekend, maybe the week after. We'll just have to see. I'll definitely try to keep you guys updated. The easiest way to follow me is on Instagram, where you can find me as the Happy Knitting Podcast, all one word. And until I see you again, I hope to see you in the Ravelry groups, or on Instagram, or in the YouTube comments. I always love to hear from you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching this crazy show. Have a wonderful week and happy knitting. Bye!